I want to invite you to lift off with me today, but specifically with Jackson Trigg.
14, 12, 11, 10.
Now, Jackson does $200 profit, not revenue, profit per day. We're talking $6,000 profit a month on guess how many products? One. If you just look at the last 7 months, he did a total of $112,000 revenue at 45% profit. One product, you guys. Now here's why I think you're gonna love this session. He did this, when he did this, he also launched on YouTube at the same time. So he had someone who does reviews, and in fact, this YouTube reviewer was not like, didn't have a massive number of subscribers, just a decent amount. She featured his product at the same time, and this triggered an algorithm that really helped him with the sales. So in this session, you're gonna hear about supplier costs, you're gonna hear about differentiation, PPC. What do you do if you launch with no reviews? Because when he launched, that was right when Amazon had removed a ton of reviews. You're gonna hear a ton of little tips that you can immediately apply to your store. And Warriors, I'm really excited because Jackson Trigg is a Just One Dime student. Last year when he went to our summit, our ecom, he had not sold anything on Amazon yet. And yet today he's gonna show you how he built his own success, applying the training step by step. And here's my hope, that when you walk away from this interview, you get a ton of tactics that you can apply right now. You could go over to your Seller Central account, log in, and apply them immediately so you can make money. Welcome to Liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is Seth Keeping It Real. Today I'm super excited to interview a Just One Dime student, Jackson Trigg. Jackson, thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, hey, my pleasure. Looking forward to chatting.
And I remember it was less than a year ago, you were sitting in the front row at the summit. I remember sitting to my left, remember?
Yeah.
Spoke, and Manny Coates spoke, and other people went up. How many sales did you have on Amazon at that time? That's March of 2018.
I believe I had 0. Because the first thing I sold on Amazon was some laptop RAM that I bought, and I knew I could flip for more money, and that was sometime in like April or May, I think. So yeah, I was a complete beginner at that point.
So today, Jackson is doing an average of $200 profit, and this is on his first product, $200 every day. And just think about how many companies are going to pay you $200 a day profit, previous no experience in. Here's what I love about Amazon. You walk up, you don't have to put in a resume to Amazon to get approved to sell. You don't have to have, you can have 0 entrepreneurial history, 0 Amazon experience. And because Jackson hustled, he followed the steps in the training, and he has a teachable heart, and he keeps going. He's doing $200 of profit a day. And just to give you guys a few numbers on this, he did over $100,000 revenue in less than 6 months. He has entered a very competitive market with a one-of-a-kind bundle, which we'll talk about. I can't wait to talk about that more. And his gross profit on that $100,000 is 44 to 46%. Just to give you guys a screenshot, there you go, $112,000, 145.42. And I hope this encourages you guys a ton as you are on your journey. But guys, today we want to help you. And so I've asked Jackson, as a Just One Dime student, to come in and just share what his experiences have been. And one thing I love about Jackson, he's very real, he's very honest. He's not going to give you a rosy picture, so that, oh, it's so easy. No, but nor is he going to give you this, depressing picture of, oh, it's just so hard, because it's fulfilling, it's exciting. Jackson, I have more energy today than I did 10 years ago. I feel better physically, in midlife. I feel so much better now than before I was an entrepreneur, because it's raised the bar on my standard of how I discipline myself, which has given me more margin, which has allowed me to travel the world, which has allowed me to do things like this with you. Right now, if we hadn't started Just One Dime, all I'd be doing is focusing on Amazon. Now I'm able to do that and this, which is such a gift. So again, I just want to say thank you for taking time out of your day, brother, to be here after all the hard work that you've done.
Yeah, for sure.
And what I'll do, guys, is I'm going to share just a couple things and ask some questions as we go through. I want you guys to get as much value out of this as you can. So first of all, Jackson, can you talk about the Amazon review crackdown? Because you were in a very, if someone could have picked a worse time to launch, I think you were at the top. Like, you picked the most terrible time in the world to launch a product.
Yeah, it was.
Talk about that.
It was really interesting because definitely I joined during a time when strategies for launching were completely different than when I was able to launch. Right. So basically I had to be super circumspect as I was moving along the process, because you could start to see kind of rumblings in the Amazon verse that things were changing. And it was like right as I was making my first order of inventory that it was like people getting completely wiped out of reviews, getting their privileges to even receive reviews taken away, people being able to review being taken away. Everything was just kind of collapsing and everyone was, panic mode like crazy. And so I was like, okay, well, it's good in one sense because I didn't have to worry about, having that problem myself because I wasn't going to go that road when I did launch. But it did create a challenge because it's like, okay, well, I need to do a completely different strategy. I can't do what other people have done in the past. I need to go a different route. So anyway.
I want to jump in real quick, Jackson. You had 0 reviews. Amazon had just cracked down on a lot of listings. Some had incentivized reviews, some not. But if a listing, let's just say it had 10 reviews for simplicity's sake. If out of those 10, 9 of them were legit, but 1 of them was incentivized, and if the person who did the incentivized review was on bad terms with Amazon based on their system, then that compromised the listing in Amazon's mind, and sometimes they would take out all 10. So even if 10% was outside of terms of service, the other 90%, the innocent, got swept away with the guilty. You had 0 reviews. How did you get reviews?
Well, I pretty much attribute it to my email sequence that I send out every time someone buys the product. I've tried to craft it in such a way so it's super duper personable. Yeah. So it'll actually connect with my type of audience in a really real way, and they'll feel. And on top of that, I think I crafted it in a way, especially to kind of pull at the heartstrings of customers and just share with them right off the bat that, this is a new company where this is a new product for us and we really want to be able to do the best possible. So we appreciate any feedback. Just inviting them in any way, shape, and form to reach out to us, because as soon as they talk to us personally, I know that I'm going to wow them with customer service. Right. So it's kind of like I don't want people to be quiet. I want to get them to talk to me in any way possible, whether it's they have a problem, whether it's their delivery didn't show up, whether they love it, whatever it is, right? So I think that's probably the main reason I've been able to get a lot of reviews. And yeah, I think it only took maybe, I think it was 2.5 or 3 weeks until I got my first review. So
man, and you are at 190 something reviews now, just under 200. And you're getting on average 26 reviews a month. You mentioned pulling heartstrings. If I'm a new Amazon seller or I've been selling and I want to get a high review rate, can you give me something really practical? What do I do in that email sequence, Jackson, to get people to be more likely to respond with a review?
Well, one thing, so I found a pretty decent template, in the world of Amazon sellers, but I did a bunch of research myself on just how to really get your email subject line to hook them in that proper way. Mm-hmm. Some tips, just basic things like you have to use the customer's name in the subject line, and you have to make the subject line. The way to think about it is, what do you write in the subject line? You're writing an email to a friend. You know what I mean? It's not all technical. It doesn't have an order number in it, all that sort of stuff.
Say, dear customer, hello.
Yeah, exactly. You're just going to say, hey, such and such. Right. So glad that blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Super short and brief, like voicemail style in a way almost. Yeah. And, I think another thing is to make sure you get a really good automation software so that you can include photos and GIFs and things like that to really bring the email to life when they actually do open it, so that it kind of catches their attention and keeps them into it. But
which one do you use?
I use a software called Feedback Wiz. They're really awesome. I think they only service the US and Canada markets right now, though. I'm not sure if they've expanded to Mexico or anywhere else. But so they're not going to work for everybody, but they are really top notch if you want to go that route. So
awesome. And could you talk a little bit? So let's just go back. So 0 reviews. You have a very heartstring pulling, customer oriented email sequence. You personalize it like crazy using Feedback Wiz. This is all super helpful. And I'm recapping that for those of you guys watching, so this can help you. Now talk a little bit about PPC. I know that you have dived headfirst and just buried yourself in PPC.
Yes.
All the heartaches and the victories, and it's really worked for you. Can you talk about how that helped you at the beginning? Because you didn't use like Viral Launch for a giveaway, right? You just used PPC to really push it?
No, I actually, so I didn't, I did eventually do a small giveaway launch, but that was well after I'd already gotten like 100 reviews and had just only been doing PPC for several months.
That was just for a boost later on.
Yeah, it was just a little boost to kind of see where I could rank up to even further, and then we'll talk about some other stuff later. But yeah, I really just went full into PPC. I was like, okay, this is one thing where I want to understand it, I want to learn it, and really get it, rather than it just being like I read a little booklet on it or have someone do some tweaks for me and then I don't know what's happening. So I went head first, and I went super aggressive. I knew that I had, the means to throw some money at it and see where it would go. And it worked out really well. It took a little bit longer because, as you mentioned, I'm in a pretty competitive market. So, lots of people, they can find that they'll be ranking within 4 weeks to 8 weeks or something like that. It took me, I think it was probably, I'm trying to remember now. I think it was like 2 months until I became profitable with my PPC, because it was just so difficult. And it was a time too where, my market was just starting to get a lot of attention, and there's always copycats coming in. And so it was like right at that rush where I took longer to prepare my product because I differentiated and bundled. The challenge that faces, because I could have rushed to market and just done another copycat myself, and I would have gotten a little bit earlier. I would have got a little bit of a head start on some other people. And so what happened is, mine was differentiated. It had more value. I could sell it at a higher price. But then all the cheapskate kind of copycats came in. And what happened is the PPC bids just skyrocketed. So there was a time in the earlier days where it was like $4 plus a bid for my main keywords. So it was just like, holy cow, this is insane.
Every time they click, $4.
Yep.
Click, $4.
Yep, and it was really difficult to figure out. That's why it took so long, is because I had to do so much keyword research and paying attention to my search term reports to find those magic keywords that were going to really do it for me. And in the end, what happened was, it was the gem hack that you teach in the course that revealed where I could focus my attention, get some really profitable PPC sales to fund really amping up my ranking in other areas where I wouldn't make money on PPC sales right away. So yeah, that was the experience there. Took a couple months, but then once the ball got rolling, it's good.
Just take a moment. You mentioned the course. Tell me, and guys, I'm not paying Jackson to say this, okay? This isn't like some setup deal. I just said, we'll love to interview. He's like, yep, let's do it. How has Just One Dime truly, honestly, how has it helped you between the courses, the coaching combined? How has it helped you most in your journey? What has it done for you, Jackson? And again, I just want to remind you guys, Jackson is making around $200 a day average profit on his first product. He's done over 100,000 revenue in less than 6 months. Again, I'll show the screenshot. You can see right here, since last July, he is up to over 112,000. And these profit margins are between approximately 44 to 46%. And this is all in a very competitive market.
Yeah, I think probably, the course was great, you know what I mean? But there's only so far that learning the right information can go for you if you don't have other humans to bounce it off of and get clear on things.
Right.
And so I think probably, if I'm honest, the number one factor is the community that you get connected with in the Facebook group, the workshops where you can interact with coaches and you can ask questions and get information that's, super useful and helps enlighten you on sorts of things. I know that one of the PPC trainings that you guys did really was part of the major helps to me because it came out right around the time when I was getting deep into it, and it totally helped me. Yeah, it totally helped me get my campaigns in much better shape. Right. And so it's just really good to be able to interact with people and get clear on stuff, because it's kind of, the course is great, but a course is a course, and it's just like you can have the textbook with all the perfect information, but having that full package of being able to connect with other people.
It allows you to contextualize it.
Exactly.
Like, okay, here's the answers, but how do I make this work for my unique situation?
Yeah, and that's the key, is that every situation is unique, because that's part of the issue, is that people don't understand that you can't just get some basic principles and it work for you, because every single seller pretty much sells in different markets that are almost like complete different businesses in a way. You know what I mean? Because just because we all sell on Amazon and there's a lot of similarities there, it doesn't mean that selling in home and kitchen and selling in tools has the same market. You know what I mean? It's like you don't think of Home Depot and the fancy restaurant in town as running the same business. But anyway, so it's just, you have to be able to network with other people, because you can find out what is going to work for you and what isn't going to work from you from all the wisdom that people have from their own experience and different things. So it's
what I love about what you said, Jackson, is you, without even trying to, you just talked about the most important asset. I believe if you were to look around the world, the most important thing on earth are humans. There's nothing more important than humans in this world. More than animals. I love animals, but I think human beings are the best. I really do. I do think they're superior. I don't want to offend anyone out there, but just going to be open. Like, I married my wife. I love my kids, and I like them more than my dog. And I would die for my dog, but I would die for my family. But if you look at the 4 main assets, guys, he talked about the courses. As you guys know, the Amazon FB Mastery is 5 courses. That's knowledge. That's very important. You need that knowledge as a foundation. But what is more important than knowledge? Well, let me first talk about what's less important. Money. Money's less important. I mean, I don't like how I say that like Kevin O'Leary. Money. The other day, he had a Valentine's post, and he said, I love my wife more than money. That means he really loves his wife.
Yes.
But money does matter. What's the point of doing this if we can't make money so we have margin to do the things we love with the people that we love? So money's here. Then you have knowledge. It's important. Up above from that, you have time, which I think is more important because you can't get a refund on it. And you can use time to gain knowledge to make money. But even above that is people, because people are unique, people are wonderful, people are heartbreaking, and it's the people within the Just When I'm membership. I'm not talking about the free online group, I'm talking about the exclusive group that only members get access to, that really is it's the heartbeat. It is the lifeblood of those people who are part of Just One Dime. It's the community in 90 countries that is, I love. Like that is the greatest motivator for me. If I can be just super transparent, you guys, running a coaching business is not easy at all. Compared to selling on Amazon, it is much, much more difficult to run a coaching business than it is to sell on Amazon. I'm not saying Amazon's easy at all. But after you've done it for a few years, even launching new products, we're launching 3 new brands, it's hard, but it's nothing like running a coaching company. You have to constantly bring out updated information. You're working with a bunch of staff. There's so many things going. It's a service. It's harder to have, people can get more easily upset if something doesn't work out for them because they're trying to change their life. So the expectation is really high on us versus someone who buys your selfie stick on Amazon. They're probably not going to go crazy over it. They just might leave you a nasty review because they had a headache that day and they need to take some aspirin. I don't know. But you get what I'm saying? So I just want to encourage you guys, what motivates me to continue to do Just One Dime is Jackson. People like this, because they're applying the training and it's changing their life and it's impacting people I don't know. I don't know Jackson's wife. I don't know his family. I don't know his pets. I don't know his people at work, but I know it's impacting them. And I think that's awesome, Jackson. You mentioned something earlier, man, really quick.
Yeah.
You talked about a one-of-a-kind bundle. Bundles appear really simple, but they're not. People think, hey, all I need to do is just add a bunch of cute accessories as long as they all apply to the same thing, sort of like, this is Bobby McGee, by the way, a sort of like, a camera and a case and this. And like, if I just add all these things to it, it's going to really work. But can you talk a little bit about how did you bundle in a way that differentiated you from every other top seller in that market?
Yeah, well, hey, and quickly, I do want to put a plug in for you because one other aspect of the people thing. I will be at the Ecom Summit, and that was a big game changer for me too, that we talked about where I was sat next to you that one time.
Yeah, you're sitting right to the left of me. And guys, this is a really good point. This was less than a year ago. Sitting to the left was Jackson. I saw you there with your smiling face. You had that big cheesy grin, and you were laughing at all the jokes. You're interacting, you're talking, you were just eating it up. now you're doing $200 a day profit after that. Mind blowing.
Yeah.
You guys need to be equal.
Information, getting connected with people is a big deal. But yeah, when it comes to bundling, so yeah, my first product's a bundle, and it's you learn a lot because it adds. It's almost like in a lot of ways it gives you insight into more than one product when you bundle, and it's a very interesting and complex subject, because what I found out is that I kind of straddled the line of going too far with bundling, where I almost could have been bundling two main products together and risking it being confusing and not knowing which is the primary and that sort of stuff. And so you do have to find that sweet spot when you're bundling, because you don't want to just throw some sort of tack on gimmicky piece of junk. What I focused on was I looked at the primary product that had high potential, and then I just scanned through all of the different products people were buying together with it. And it's easy to find, you know what I mean? You go on Amazon, and really where it gets more complicated is it's like, well, you have to talk to multiple suppliers. You have to figure out multiple sets of logistics. You have to figure out how you're packaging it. You have to figure out all the numbers to make sure it still works and you can still be competitive from like a Amazon fee standpoint, from your shipping cost added standpoint, all that sort of stuff. So it makes your product definitely more complicated, but it can make a big difference because people aren't going to be able to copy you as easy, and you can add that value, raise your price. You can be more competitive because you're different, that sort of stuff. So
did you use different accessories to bundle your product in a way that no one else is doing, Jackson?
Yeah, actually, up until I think it was just like a week ago, I noticed someone basically just copied me outright. Their listing is total trash, and they have 1 3-star review. Or is it a 2-star? I can't remember. But they have one really bad review, and they're, they just straight up copied, but their listing looks ugly. So no one else has,
all the different parts to your bundle. Did you get it from the same supplier or from multiple suppliers?
No, I had to use 2 different suppliers. Yeah.
Now that was hard, but why is that good? Tell everyone why that's a good thing.
Well, it's good because that means like I just said, here I am like almost 8 months later, and I don't have any copycats that have done what I've done. You know what I mean? Because it ups the difficulty level, and people who copycat are by definition kind of lazy. So
the 100,000 you did in the last 7 months since you launched probably wouldn't be 100,000 if you hadn't taken the time and the pain to do that. How long did it take you from the time you began researching this product to the time you actually launched? How many months was that?
I basically made my decision to go ahead with this product while I was at the summit, and I had been researching it from probably like late January, mid-late January until that time in March. So I researched it for about a month and a half.
Right.
And then I pulled the trigger and started moving ahead with it. And so from March until July, April, May, June, took me 4 months to get it from concept to selling.
Yeah. And when you ordered it from multiple suppliers, did you have one supplier send it to the other supplier, or did you not want this other supplier to know about the bundle? So you had both of them send it to a center, they sent it to your house. This is a big
that was actually something I was really kind of nervous about in the beginning.
Yeah.
I was really concerned that, hey, if I send this other product and I get this bundle set up at my primary supplier, is that going to put me at risk of immediately someone's copying me? Through asking that question to a bunch of different people, it became pretty clear that, sometimes you don't have to worry too much about it. You don't have to add so many bars in the way for people to copy you, because just doing a certain amount of work kind of blocks enough people out, and that getting speed going is better sometimes. So I actually went with the way where I just had my primary supplier do the bundling, because they were going to be able to do it for me super perfect, exactly as I wanted. Super cheap. They charged me 3 cents per unit.
Wow.
To bundle.
I understand Supplier A, the first one you contacted for the main product. So you had Supplier B ship theirs to Supplier A.
Exactly.
Supplier A did the FNSKU label and sent that directly to the fulfillment center.
Exactly. Yep.
Did you do a product inspection? Did you have anyone inspect the product?
Yes, yes. I do have an inspection like before I pay all the final fees and everything. I have developed a really close relationship with the secondary product supplier. And so there's a really good trust relationship there. Yeah. And the secondary product is like really hard to mess up, which helps as well. So I'm kind of getting to the point where I'm scaling up my orders big enough that I'm probably going to start doing some more in-depth inspection there and then again with both of them. But up until now, I've kind of just been like really working the relationship with the secondary one, and the person that I do all the sales and everything with, she's kind of been my inspector and communicates with me and everything, and then we send it off. So it's kind of.
So real quick, she went to Supplier B. Good relationship. She traveled to Supplier A to inspect the product.
No. She kind of inspects it for me and gives me a good report on it before she sends it off. So it's kind of like that gray area. I don't really recommend it for people to do that.
She sends it off to Supplier A.
Yes. Supplier B.
So this, I just want to make sure we understand for the people.
Yeah.
So Supplier B, doing the accessory stuff, is the one you've developed a close relationship with. So she's just inspecting the accessory stuff, but are you getting the main product inspected? Yes. So I get the main product inspected in the total official way, you know what I mean? All that's the AQL and everything. Right. And the bundles are inspected for, full everything. And so if something's wrong there, it's fine. And I get extra of the secondary accessory made in case there's defective ones for when they're bundling them. Right. But in general, I haven't had to worry too much about inspecting the accessory product because it's pretty hard to screw up. So, yeah. You don't have to share this if you don't want to. It's up to you. But I am curious, who does your inspection for you? And if you don't want to answer that, then answer this question. How did you find them? Yeah, well, actually, I might change to a different inspector down the road, so I probably don't need to give a recommendation. But they were just found. Go ahead. And I want to share this with everyone. Currently, the reason Just One Dime does not offer one particular inspection company is because you just nailed it. They change. And all of a sudden, you're going to find a better one, a more trustworthy one, a more interesting one. Yep. They do change a lot really fast. So right now, what we do is for everyone who's in the community, you get this exclusive access to all these Amazon sellers with hundreds of experiences. There's no possible way Jackson or I can know all of them. And you just say, hey, who would you recommend? And someone says, hey, here's been my experience. They've been awesome. Here's the prices. Boom. Word of mouth recommendation is awesome. But back to you. Exactly. Yeah. Well, actually, that's kind of what happened is the inspector I'd used the first time around, when I went to contact them for the second order of inventory, it was a different representative that had kind of taken over and the other person quit. And so it's like everything you do with all these suppliers of different services and products in China, it's like when you build the relationship and then it's broken, you're just like, do I want to start over again or do I want to start over somewhere else? You know what I mean? So yeah, but I just found them. They advertise on Alibaba. They're just an Alibaba listing on there, and they were actually recommended me by another person in the community. So that's how I got connected with them. Super affordable, do a good job. That's all you need. So awesome. Guys, for those of you who just stepped in on this interview, just want to remind you, Jackson's doing $200 profit a day. This is on his first product. He launched approximately 7 months ago. It took him 4 months from when he decided on the product idea to having it in Amazon's fulfillment center ready to go. He used PPC and very customer-oriented email sequences in order to engage his customers, and that's how he's getting around 26 reviews a month. That's almost a review every day. It's a very competitive market, but his overall revenue, and again, you can see the screenshot, is $112,145,042, and that's since last July. Huge congrats to you for doing this, Jackson. Let's just take a few minutes to talk about the internal battle. So can you talk a little bit about the amount of personal growth required in the beginning to change your mindset and then the habits you have to start developing to succeed as an entrepreneur? And guys, the reason I'm asking this, I know for many of you, if you're new to this, you're thinking, what do I do? How do I start? Where do I go? But I promise you, your number one challenge won't be that. Anyone can learn that. The bigger challenge is going to be, how do I keep going when I hit a brick wall and it's hard? How do I change and grow so I can keep going? It always ends up the greatest battle being right here in your mind. And that's why I'm asking this question to Jackson. Yeah, man. That is definitely,
that is kind of the exact aspect of this whole thing in any business, where people can think you're an overnight success when they see where you're at now,
right?
Because they don't see all the grind that was put into it. Yeah. And yeah, it's so hard when most of us come from 9-to-5 jobs where we have a boss, we have a set, arrangement of responsibilities. We go in, we do what we need to do, we leave, and it's kind of on, off in that way. And it's simple and it's kind of easy, and that's why it's popular, I'd say. But with being a business owner and entrepreneur, you have to be a self-starter in everything. Like, nobody is going to come and nobody's going to send you an email. Nobody's going to call your phone and say, where are you? What are you doing? Nobody's going to hold you accountable but you. So, yep. So it's like
that freedom people want sometimes, like, wait a minute, there's a cost. It means I have to be my boss.
Yes, exactly. And it's such an emotional battle. Like, you think it's just, I need the right knowledge and I need to know what I need to do and then I'll do it. But then you find out, oh, if I'm going to do this while I'm still working full time so that I can transition out of that, you have to go 10 more miles beyond what you were already doing, because you have to get up earlier, you have to sleep less, you have to learn more, you have to do all sorts of things, and they all work together synergistically. You got to eat as healthy as you can, you got to be keeping in shape, all this sort of stuff, because you're going to be working at a higher level. And it creates so many new needs for discipline that you didn't have before when your life was simpler. And so, yeah, I became a huge motivation junkie, and I was getting up at, I still do pretty regularly, but I usually get up between like 3:30 and 4:30 every day just to kind of get my morning routine in the groove. Cause it's like, we have a 1.5-year-old daughter. And so anyone who has a child that age knows getting quiet time to yourself is so difficult. And especially when it's like, they see you, Daddy. So, it's like, for me to get an hour by myself quietly is like a miracle. So I have to do it in the morning.
And you're still working a full-time job?
Yep. I actually, it's interesting too, because I do like my job. It suits me really well. I kind of did the whole, what color is your parachute, before I applied for this job and found out what my skill set is. So, and it's cool too, because it's a small business. So the owner's like entrepreneurial. He's all about doing, growing his business and personal growth as well. So him and I have this kind of bond. And, I would prefer down the road to like work with him as another business venture rather than just work for him and like cut out someday and ditch out or whatever. So we'll see what's down the road. But yeah, it's really cool.
Jackson, I think you bring out a really good point. And I think sometimes we lose sight of this when we talk so much about firing your boss. And there's a sense of freedom, and it's almost this romantic setting out, I'm going to be a trailblazer across the Scottish Highlands and do something unique and amazing. I get that, and I love that. But when you have a job that you love, and you love the people at that job, and you're able to build your Amazon business on the side at the same time, and then it gives you the freedom, it gives you options if you wanted to leave, or maybe work with them at a higher level, like you said, or maybe stay on for a while. Guys, you don't have to do this full time. You don't have to fire your boss to start building the life of your dreams. I think a lot of people forget this. I never fired Apple until I was making far more on Amazon than I was making at Apple. I never left them until I really felt like this is the right. Now, it would have been fun. It would have felt, bravo, and this is awesome. But no, instead, I kept doubling my dime. I kept reinvesting. I started learning eBay. Then Amazon just kept going and going and going and going until finally I was like, okay. And I kind of like bent my job until it broke versus like, boom, I'm done. And it worked really, really well for me. Some of you may be in a different situation where you do like your manager. I didn't like my manager. You might have that collaboration that you have, Jackson. So that's when you guys to realize the whole point of selling Amazon is so that you can create that life that you love. And for everyone, that life is going to look different. The question is, are you willing to do what it takes to get there?
Yeah, and it's cool that you talk about that, because that is exactly it. It's like, I knew like 2 years after I started that job that I wasn't going to do it for the rest of my life. Like, it's not my goal, right? But right now, the primary goal is my wife and I want her to be able to stay home and raise our children. And now that's something that we don't have to worry about, because we're able to create this income on the side. And even if I do work at the job for 2, 3, 4 more years, that's fine, because we're taken care of. We can keep growing our family and not have to worry about Hannah going back to work, or me having to take a second pizza delivery job or something like that. You know what I mean? Dave Ramsey style. I'm sure you're familiar with that. But yeah, so and this is something that's scalable that I can just keep building on as time goes on, and eventually it will be something where it's like, hey, I like working here, but I have higher level skills that I think I can apply to your business, and I can work less time, and I can have more freedom, and you can have more benefit from me than me just being this lower level worker. You know what I mean? So.
And what I love about that is everyone benefits as a result. Everyone has added value. Guys, there's so much more we could talk about that we don't have time for, but I'm just going to give you guys a little teaser. And then if you want Jackson back for another interview, I want you to comment below. But here's the thing we didn't cover today. How do I use strategy and discipline with my PPC ad campaign so I can discover the most profitable keywords? A lot of people get scared of PPC. High ACOSs terrify them. How do you make it work for you, not just for selling, but for ranking so you do convert instead of it working against you? Here's another one. How do you deal with IP infringement complaint cases? And what if your listing gets shut down? This actually happened to Jackson from December 11 to 31st. I mean, the best time in the world to get shut down. December 11 to 31st.
Oh my gosh.
That's what his sales would have been, you guys. If that hadn't happened, he still did this well, even though he got shut down in the prime season and he recovered. What about this? Influencer marketing. I actually saw the YouTube video. I won't share it, but it's really cool. He used a YouTube video promoter, and that really helped to make his product take off. So, guys, if you want to, one more, demand being higher than he predicted, and then having to 2 times reorder inventory at the same time, the previous time the order arrived at Amazon. So there's a lot more we could cover, but for time's sake, we're going to close it. But if you want Jackson back for a part 2, I want you guys to comment below if it was valuable to you. And if it wasn't, tell us why. My goal, you guys, is simple. I hope that every time you come to this YouTube channel, this podcast, this Instagram channel, that you find value. Now, if you have found this valuable and you're like, Seth, I'm dead set on making income. I want to build the life of my dreams. I want that margin. Then click the other link below that will show you how to join the membership and to get the same training that Jackson has received and be part of that same exact community of people who are on fire to do nothing but help people crush it online. Jackson, are there any last words you want to say before we close it up, brother?
I don't think so. It's a lot of fun. I actually would really enjoy doing a part 2 because, yeah, I had forgotten about all the different things we could have talked about in this interview where it gets so in-depth. And, yeah, there's some stories to tell. So,
awesome. All right, guys. So let us know. Comment below if you want us to come back for a part 2. And I wish you guys an awesome rest of your day. Thank you again, Jackson.
Yep. We'll see ya.